Devereaux!
I'm Mr. Devereaux.
What's that humming mean?
Beethoven's Fifth.
I never said I was more than I am.
Welcome everyone, episode 58 of Kiss Meets Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I'm Bruce Dickinson.
And I haven't yet decided whether I'm more talented than Mark Slaughter.
Brandon, I'm going to ask you to remove your shirt. I'm wearing an Iron Maiden shirt on a Kiss podcast.
Again?
I'll throw you a few bucks, I promise.
Alright, well the interview's over.
Alright. Well, that'll be it, everyone. Thanks for watching. No. Oh man, so finally there is a ton of stuff to talk about this week. A lot of stuff has been happening in the Kiss world. Obviously the Atlanta Expo just passed. We'll probably hit that last since there's going to be more to talk about with that. I don't know. Let's just get into it then. First order of business, they made a huge announcement over the week for the Kiss Cruise. They announced that Ace Frehley and Bruce and Bob Kulick are going to both play on the cruise this year. Obviously, Ace Frehley, hearing that is like blowing everybody's minds. That's something I think we've even discussed before, like, would it happen, could it happen? And now it's happening. It's like, if there's ever a time to be on the cruise. No, that's exciting, and I don't know, I feel like things are kind of starting to fall into place a little bit, and, you know, maybe, not necessarily Ace rejoining Kiss, but I think they're trying that out to maybe try that same sort of lineup for, like, maybe a final tour or even, like, a final show. I think would be awesome myself. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, then. So,
I agree for sure. I think that would be. This does seem like they're kind of laying the stones for that sort of event to happen for a final show that involves everybody that's still here.
Yes. So now Vinnie and Peter can make a super group, and they can be on the bill. No, that's freaking awesome, man. I'm sure I won't be on the cruise again this year, but I'll be waiting for the videos once that time comes. But that's long ways from now, and I'm not even thinking about it.
What's the chances of, like, getting a rowboat and attaching it to the ship and be cheaper?
Or get like a submarine. Just wow.
You'd have like a torpedo girl on it.
There you go. Yes. It all ties in. Bam.
All goes back to Kiss.
So that's exciting. Another big piece of exciting news is the Indianapolis Kiss Expo, which, you know, we're always looking forward to every year. I always say after the first of the year, that's when I start checking almost every day to find out, you know, first of all, when the date is going to be and all that stuff. Well, we didn't have to wait too long this year, so Keith LaRue himself posted an image. This is, in fact, the 20th anniversary this year, and I was hoping they was going to do something a little bigger, and they are. It's a 2-day event, again, like it was the first time I went, so I bet you they're planning a lot of big stuff for it. The dates are May 12th and 13th. Which is a little bit later in the year, I believe, than what they usually do it, but still cool because it'll be nice weather. And it'll be at the Wyndham Indianapolis West again, which is usually where they hold it. And basically, they went ahead and shared this info so you can go ahead and start, you know, trying to book your rooms now. I know we're definitely going to have to do that. hopefully get a room at that hotel would be nice. I know last time we just stayed somewhere, in the close vicinity of it and drove there, but it'd be nice to be in that same hotel and just walk down into it. But again, still, getting all the guests and everything lined up, but real excited just to know the dates now, and then seeing that it's a 2-day thing again this year, 20th anniversary, so I'm expecting pretty big things for it. It's going to be a great time, so I think, we'll be showing up with like a little mini gang ourselves with everybody that's going with all of us this year, so.
Did he say anything about potential guests or anything like that yet?
He didn't give any hints or anything like that, but right now he just wanted to, confirm the hotel, and then he also gave a link and phone number so you could start booking hotels.
Did he say when he would know anything, or did he even go there?
He didn't really go that far, so I don't know. Like, I'm hoping he does announce guests and everything, fairly regularly leading up to it instead of a week or two before like it kind of usually is,
Right.
But, and being that this one's 2 days again, and something big's coming, I can just about guarantee the fact that it's a 2-day thing. Something big is coming. I'm just guessing. I bet you he's going to get Gene or Paul. Maybe Gene. Because, with him doing all that vault stuff right now, and he's going to be in Indianapolis again in June anyway. Yeah, so who knows? Maybe 2 different tribute bands, one playing each day or something. That would be interesting. So, yeah, excited, man. I know with the Atlanta thing that just happened, yeah, that was big. We're going to get to it, but I'm sorry, but I'm kind of more excited about this now. It's like, because who knows, man? Vinnie could end up being at this one.
Yeah.
Or it'll be Gigi Chris. That'll be the main guest.
Oh boy.
So yeah, so all 3 of us will be there for sure. Again, we're not going to have a table or anything this year, but sure enough, we'll be there wandering around all weekend. Really need to try to get some new stickers made up so we can pass them out to you guys. Maybe a couple other little things, bracelets or buttons or something, something like that would be nice.
Condoms.
Yes, condoms. Tea bags.
Yeah. Show up in my Kiss Meets the Podcast casket.
Toilet seat covers for those of you that have those the germaphobes. So, but yeah, we'll all be there. So, looking forward to seeing some old faces again. Shout out to Mountainous, who was on the show a while back. He's usually there every year. Looking forward to running into him and meeting some new faces. Hopefully we have some listeners that plan on being there. So, looking forward to it this year. Cannot wait. Coming in May. So, you'll have to excuse me if I'm blabbing about it every week now like an excited teenager, because I am. Especially once we find out some of the guests. Oh my god.
I'd like for you on next week's show, I'd like for you to wear the little schoolgirl outfit like Britney Spears in the video. Give me one more time. Can you at least do that?
I am not acting out your fantasies.
Okay, I'll wear it.
You have to wear an Iron Maiden schoolgirl dress.
Well, I got half of it here. I have to get the Eddie mask.
Oh my god. So yeah, obviously the other big thing that just happened over the past weekend was the Atlanta Expo. Vinnie made his big return. Also Eddie Trunk was there. Bob Kulick, Big John, Lydia Chris, you know. Saw a lot of videos of the event. I don't know. I don't want to go on a little rant just yet, but I am happy to see Vinnie back. He's very, very much at peace and happy where he's at now. Listening to his interview on the Eddie Trunk show, and then I did see the footage of his first Q&A from the first night, and a little bit of the performance footage with Robert Fleischman, who was there. So they had another reunion there. Excuse me. That was nice. I don't know. Maybe, anything I'm missing? I know there's a lot of detail to go into, but start us off somewhere.
I didn't get to see too much of it. I watched probably, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes of the second night's Q&A, which was mostly just him talking about how great it was to be back, and then what happened at the end of the Vinnie Vincent invasion is basically all I saw him talking about. So I missed most of the important parts, I think.
I think did you listen to the Eddie Trunk interview?
I didn't get to.
If you listen to that he kind of hits the main points on that, because he kind of repeats himself during that Q&A after you listen to that. But you know, he didn't necessarily give the whole explanation of, you know, where he's been for 20 years and what exactly, you know. And he asked in the Q&A, did everybody want the from the heart, the real, all that stuff? And he just said, you know, he's been playing his guitar and taking care of his dogs, and
on
that
part two. Well, the part two, the video was part two. I guess it was the second half of Saturday, or maybe just Saturday. There was like an hour that we watched last night, and he actually went into a lot of detail about why he was arrested and about his mug shot.
Oh, really?
Back in whatever year that was. And he talked about how in 1984, after he left KISS, I don't think he said what kind of drugs it was, but he got on something that somebody offered him, and because he was having a hard time with this lawsuit, the KISS lawsuit, whatever it was called. And I guess he almost died. He wouldn't go to the hospital. He thought he was having like a heart attack or something. And I mean, if you watch that video, you can go and listen to the whole story. And then he also talked about, from what I could gather, I think it was he's been married twice, so I think it was his second ex-wife. I'm not positive about that. That he had a lot of issues with. It was a very bad marriage, I guess, and that's where the dogs came in. And there was a lot of, I mean, he went to jail over it, and it's like stuff nobody had never known, because there was no way to, you know, to hear it from anyone. I mean, since he hadn't been really discussing things, and he had said that back in the 80s, he said he hates all the interviews he did back in the 80s because it was all fake. You know, it's because they told you what to say and how to say it and how to act. And, you know, we've talked about stock answers before. And,
right.
And he said this was his chance to tell everyone, and to, you know, all these accusations that people was accusing him of that he didn't do. He said he wanted to set the record straight. And I think, I mean, he was honest on the first Q&A that I'd seen, but then the second one, he went into a lot more detail about the why he was, you know, so down and out for so long, I guess.
I see. I need to watch that then. I didn't realize all that, but wow. I remember he said that, you know, he really didn't want to do the lawsuit with KISS, but it just came down to he deserved his part of the residuals and all that stuff, and they weren't giving it to him. So
right.
What choice?
He said he was making like $500 and some a week or something.
Yeah, they were paying him $550 a week, which I mean,
for that time period, it sort of sounds fair, but then it sort of doesn't, because I think he was he said that like all the royalties from, I'm assuming, Creatures of the Night, Lick It Up, and Revenge, the songs that he wrote on there, he wasn't getting any of that. And my opinion is, and he didn't really say this, but my opinion is, because he didn't sign that contract, Paul and Gene automatically, writes him off, and says, well, fine, But according to the little bit that he said about that, he didn't go into detail about the contract. But I think that the contract was probably ridiculous. They probably wanted him to be this or be that or do this or do that, whatever it was. He didn't go into detail. And he didn't feel like he could sign it. As much as he wanted to sign it, he didn't feel like he could. And, I like to think that everyone's on the same page, but it's becoming more and more apparent to me that, it's like with Paul and Gene, and it's probably more Paul than Gene, because they went on for years about Peter and Ace, being on drugs and alcohol, this and that, and they wrote them off. I mean, I'm not saying they don't have legitimate reasons, because if you read their books, I'm assuming a lot of that, if not all of it, is true. So I think it might be a similar situation with Vinnie, because he didn't do what they wanted him to do. Well, fine, we'll just get someone else. Because I think because they'd already broke that mold with Peter and Ace leaving, I think it was easier for them, not that it was easy, to get Vinnie in the first place, but I think it was easier to let Vinnie go at that point. And then this might have been the same thing with Mark St. John. Well, he's got this ailment with his hands, and fine, we'll just get someone else. You know what I mean? It just seemed like that. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but to me, that's what it seems like. More that after listening to Vinnie talk and how he seemed like he was really, he was really telling the truth. He's really from the heart, and he was very emotional, very sincere. It just seems to me like he got screwed, not just in Kiss, but with Vinnie Vincent Invasion, and then a lot of other things he was talking about. And just, I feel sorry for the guy, I really do. And someone had said that on the Q&A the second night, and he said, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. He said, it's just a part of my life, it's my story. And he said, it's, I had to go through those things, and I totally understand that. But
yeah, makes you a stronger person.
I do feel bad for him, because he had said something about Gene had offered to meet him in Nashville, and he's going to be in Nashville to receive the vault from Gene in April. And that is, I don't know. I mean, there's people are going to lose their mind over that.
That's pretty crazy too. Although that wouldn't be happening if Paul didn't allow it. Let's just remember that though.
Right.
I was hoping that meant he would be doing most of the April dates, which would include Cleveland. Yeah, I say it like I'm going to be buying the vault anyway, as much as I'd love to. But yeah, it'd be cool if he was at the Cleveland one too, which you never know, because you never know who's going to show up or be at any of those.
Now. It seems like now it's turned into this major thing.
Yeah, I mean, like instantly, just from that first one, with Ace and everybody showing up, it was like, whoa, like that in itself was worth the $2,000. Let alone you're getting that vault with it. Hell, not to get too far off subject, but I was watching another one of those videos of the meet and greet or the vault thing, and there was a guy standing there with Gene, and he opened up his compartment to pull out his gift, and it was one of Gene's watches. And the dude's like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah, it's yours." He's like, "No way." He's like, and Gene's just had this smile on his face, like that's what it's all about, hearing him say "wow." But yeah, the $550 thing with Vinnie, that's okay. Back in 83, 84, that may have been, decent. But when you look at it compared to Kiss, that's chump change.
Yeah.
Him getting $550 a week compared to what the rest of them guys and even Eric was probably making.
Well, that's what he said. He said Eric had his own, thing worked out with them, and he didn't go into money with that. He might not have even known the amount. But, once again, I mean, I think the reason that he was paid what he was paid is because he didn't sign the contract.
Right.
Because I would assume that Eric Carr was making more than that.
I'm sure he was.
So,
yeah.
But at the same time, I remember, I think it's on Kiss Extreme Close-Up, they're talking about Vinnie. And Gene says something about, he said, he's the most destructive guy you'd ever want to meet. And he said, he's like, you're handing him the keys to the kingdom, and he's like turning it down. And to me, now I interpret that as we're giving you a contract to sign, and you don't want to sign it. That's what I think he was talking about, even though he didn't say that.
But like you said, there may have been some ridiculous clauses in the contract.
I'm sure there was, because it just seems like that once Kiss got to a certain level, Paul and Gene almost had to take control, or they were just generally that kind of person that has to be in control.
Right.
And I think because of that, and they stayed in the band and they were the original guys, I think that they changed who they were, maybe. I mean, I don't know any of those guys personally. I wish I did. But it seems like, and, money changes people, and Gene's ego, he said numerous times how inflated his ego got. So, I mean, who's to say? Yeah,
I mean, and then they kind of wrote that story all these years of, Vinny's so hard to get along with and blah, 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 blah. And again, we don't know. Maybe he can be a tad bit difficult to work with, but I don't think it's that level of extreme as the way they always make it sound, or did, throughout them years. They were just kind of doing that to cover theirself, make them not look like the bad guys, and it was all Vinny's fault. He walked away from it, that type of thing.
Well, I think just from reading the books and seeing interviews and stuff, I think Peter was probably the hardest one to get along with.
Oh yeah.
Because I think they really liked Ace, and I think that's why all this stuff's going on with Ace now, is because they really liked him, and they knew that even when he was drinking, he was still hilarious and he was still fun to be around, because I think he could, for the longest time, he could hold his alcohol and be fine.
Yeah.
But I think it finally did get to a point where it was jeopardizing probably Ace more than Kiss at the time. But I mean, you hear the notorious stories about Ace. I just think they cut themselves off from Vinny and didn't, because, and me and Kat was talking about this last night after we watched that second half of the Q&A, about how Vinny had said that the first Vinnie Vincent Invasion album, to him, if he had stayed in Kiss, would have been the natural progression of a Kiss album after Lick It Up. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm trying to hear this in my head. This is Paul and Gene singing instead of Robert Fleischman, and you have Vinny playing, probably not to that extreme, but similar to that. And it's like, I think that would have been better than Animalize, because some of the songs on Animalize is just like forgettable.
Right.
I mean, I like the album. I mean, Heaven's on Fire and Thrills in the Night, those are two of their best songs ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see, trying to, we say like, what if, if Vinny had stayed in Kiss, or was able to, he could have maybe stayed up until, and this is all far-fetched, but stay up until, the reunion tour could have been, Vinny and Peter, or it could have been Eric Singer and Vinnie Vincent. I mean, it could have went a lot of different directions. There might not have been a Mark St. John and a Bruce Kulick.
Yeah.
I mean, and that would have been a totally different thing, because the music they were making from Lick It Up, if it would have continued with Vinny until Eric Carr passed away, I think by the time they got to Revenge, it would have already been sounding like that. There wouldn't have been all this other stuff in between. I mean, I don't know. The 80s is still the 80s, so it's hard to say. Well,
no, like what you were saying about Peter, it's like from the beginning of the band up until Reunion, Psycho Circus, all that, Farewell, he was difficult to get along with. How many times did he quit the band and come back in? I'm not talking literal, because that was enough as it was, but how many times you know, in and out. Oh, I quit. And then all of a sudden he's back the next day and all this and that. And to me,
said that stuff in his book too.
Yeah, and to me, like Gene uses that term of handing the keys to the kingdom. To me, that affects Peter more than it does Vinnie, in my opinion. Especially during the last, you know, the farewell tour and all that stuff. You had the keys to the kingdom. You didn't appreciate it. You turned down, what was it, 8 or 9 shows that in Japan that you would have made a good, huge chunk of money on. That, you know, anyone else would have loved to do. But, you know.
Well, the thing that I was thinking last night, too, is because, I mean, this Vinnie Vincent, you know, seeing him, it's like he's been through a lot more than anyone had realized, I guess. And it seems like that, okay, you got Ace and Peter. They had everything. There was no reason for them to mess it up like they did the first time or the second time. And then you have Vinnie Vincent, and then you have
the third time.
St. John, right, or the third time. And it just seems like that anyone that's been in KISS, other than even with Eric Carr from Paul's book, said that he wasn't what people thought he was. He wasn't happy. Like, you know, there was a lot of that. They wasn't speaking and stuff. So it's like, and I understand any band situation is probably, if you're with someone that long, there's a lot of things that go on, and it's like a marriage. You've heard that analogy. But it's almost like, does being in KISS drive you to drugs, drive you to drinking, and drive you to losing your mind and wanting to commit suicide? I mean, because all those guys had a lot of issues, and you can just blame it on the individuals. But, I mean, I wouldn't want to go through any of that, but the rich and famous part, I wonder if that's really what causes someone to just.
I mean, and not just in KISS. I mean, it's been the story in rock and roll and all that. You know, some people just can't handle the excess of it and the tension and all that stuff, and you know they turn to that. I personally don't understand how or why, but they do.
I think even the fame gets stuck in the head, you know, more, maybe not more so than drugs and alcohol, but just as much. I think that happened with Peter and Ace really bad, as, you know, Gene and Paul had this KISS thing, and they said, this is what it is, and this is what people like, and too much of this other stuff is going to start to dilute it.
Right.
They ended up diluting it anyway. So then that leads Peter and Ace's unused contributions for them to feel like, well, we helped do this too. We could do this without you guys.
Right. Yeah.
Which is destructive to the collective, you know, which is definitely what happened, you know. And then Ace went off and sort of did it. Peter went off and just didn't. But I think that would be difficult for Eric Carr and for Vinnie and Mark, probably, because they didn't have that same amount. But I think Vinnie for sure probably had that same feeling when he would start to bring things to the table that they would be like, no, that's not what KISS is supposed to be. And he would think, well, why am I here then? You know, I could go do this without you guys.
Right. But then when it came like Revenge, like that's what I've always been curious too. Like how did they work together on Revenge when supposedly there was such bad blood all those years before that?
Right.
And then they worked together on Revenge to write some of the best songs they've ever wrote, heaviest songs they've ever wrote.
Yeah, because he mentioned that a little bit. He said when he was called to do help with Revenge or whatever they said to him, you know, he said, I flew down there to wherever they were recording and met Bruce and everything. So it's like the whole band is there, and they're like, he said, I wrote 2 songs with Paul and wrote Unholy with Gene, and you know, and I was thinking the same thing. It's like, well, that doesn't make sense to me, because all those years past, he could have been in the band if he's good enough to write with. And I know everyone they've wrote with hasn't been in the band, but see, Vinnie had already been in there with makeup, no less. So it's almost like he's good enough for that, but he's not. And even at the time when he was first not officially in KISS, before he was, you know, told he was going to replace Ace, he said there was a bunch of other guitar players coming in, and he was already there writing songs and, you know, doing demos and stuff. And he was asking why does all these other guitar players keep coming in and out? Do you want me or don't you? And they said, no, just stick around. So it's almost like from day one, he was never really accepted 100%. And he even said he sort of felt that way until they got to Lick It Up. And then he felt like it was a band. And then I guess it fell apart really quickly after that. But
wow.
It's just really, I don't know how he can go from that to just, okay, well, come on and help us write some more songs for Revenge. And
right. And like, and then I wonder, did they do the same thing? Like some of the stuff that he brought in, we don't, that's not us or whatever. So he might have demos or stuff of things that he wrote for Revenge that never got used.
He said on his box set, there's going to be some of that stuff on there.
Yeah,
I don't know if he already cleared it or what, but
yeah, he did say he's still working on it, and he pretty much apologized to all those people from years ago, all that people that can't forgive and forget about years ago taking people's money or whatever supposedly. But he said he is still working on it, and then he also said he's almost definitely doing a book.
That's what I want.
Yes.
I mean, I'll buy the box set for sure if I can afford it. But yeah, the book, because I think that's why he didn't go into a lot of detail, because I think, one, his lawyer was there, and he said that he said more than his attorney told him to say.
Yeah.
So I think that he was intentionally holding things back for legal reasons, and then maybe because of a future book.
I think so too, yeah.
He also mentioned in that bit that I watched that he's always thought he wrote his best songs from places of pain. And he's, make no mistake, there has been an abundance of that over the last 20 years, so there is a ton of music from that.
Wow.
That'll be interesting to hear then.
Well, like he was mentioning his wife's, I mean, one of his wives was murdered, and she was pregnant at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was emotional about that, so that's probably what all that was. Because, see, I didn't know a lot of what we did know. I knew very little, because all I knew is Vinnie Vincent Invasion. I knew he was in Kiss, and beyond that, I didn't really know a lot of this other stuff. Because I don't know, I never remember reading a lot of things about Vinnie.
Right, and then other than like the conventions he did back in the 90s, you could find those clips. That's really the only other thing I've ever seen of him talking about anything. And like somebody pretty much ran down Creatures of the Night. Every song, did you play on this one, this one, this one? That's stuff like that. So, and then here we are, 20 years later, and finally getting more pieces of the puzzle, and and more than likely a book at some point, and But I mean, I'm glad to see that it looks like they mended the fences between him and Gene, and I'm assuming Paul too, since it's happening, even though Paul's not directly involved, but he is basically, so to speak.
Well, one thing that he said when he was talking about when he was first doing rehearsals with Kiss, after I don't know if they'd officially said he's in the band or not. I think they did, and they were doing rehearsals, and he said, like I play, I get down on my knees, and Gene says, why are you getting down on your knees? He goes, well, that's just what I do. I don't know why. And, Gene was like all for it for Vinnie. And then he said, Paul says, what are we doing with Vinnie? You know what I mean? That's like, well, what was their options at that point, I wonder.
Right. And why was that an issue that he got on his knees, but it was okay when Ace did it all the time?
Right. Yeah, it's sort of odd. I mean, I'd like to have been the one to sit there, and when he's saying these things, it's like, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Because I like specifics, and how Kiss fans are. They want little tiny details, and he didn't go into a lot of that because the people that were there, I don't think they were. I don't know. I didn't see him asking direct questions from the crowd. I don't know if they did that or not.
Yeah, I don't know if they did, and that's the thing about those Q&A things. It's like you get you're only getting like maybe half the answer or half the information, and because there's so many people in there, you got all these different questions flying. When they start answering a question, they end up getting directed into another topic somehow, and so it's like unless you had that opportunity for like a one-on-one, or say like if he was doing like Bruce and Eric, where they were sitting at their own tables and you actually had a chance to actually have a bit of a conversation for a few minutes, maybe then, but when you're doing that Q&A thing, it's almost impossible to.
Even like with Eddie Trunk, he didn't have enough time because I guess they were really crunched for time because he got to speak to him before he went into the expo, right?
Right. Yeah.
And he said he's going to eventually have him on for an extended show, so that'll be good to maybe fill in some of that.
Definitely. So I don't know. The thing that pissed me off about the whole thing is,
You weren't there.
Well, that was part of it. So, people making the sickening and nasty comments about Vinnie all over those Facebook pages, making comments that he's, he looks like a woman, he's this, he's that, look at this, look at that, look, just total, disregard. And it's like, really, people, like 20 freaking years that he's been out of the spotlight, everybody's been begging and hoping that he would come back. He does. And then what do these people do? They just sit there and basically the reason he was in hiding in the first place is because of the way people act like that. He even said on Eddie Trunk's show, he said, I don't have any social media accounts or anything. There's a guy that has a fake Twitter account that claims to be me. Please take it down. But he basically said, he's like, I'm not really feeling the whole social media thing because people are just mean. The world is mean because of that. And I agree. And that right there was a perfect example of what he was exactly talking about. And all these people are just right there.
Well, my thing is, I know that you look like, time changes everyone, whether it's by choice or whether it's just by, time. But if you look at the Lick It Up era, for example, talking about makeup and stuff, I mean, they took the makeup off, but if you look at some of those pictures, they have tons of makeup on.
Right.
During Lick It Up. And then, of course, Asylum and everything else. And then with Vinnie Vincent Invasion, I mean, that's full glam.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing but glam, because that's all that was going on at the time. Everybody was doing that.
Right.
So, to me, how someone looks is, one, not only not important, but, healthy. He needs to, be healthy. That's the main thing.
Right.
And as far as how he looks and how people think all this or that, I mean, everyone has their opinions and everyone can think what they want. But yeah, as far as being mean, and see, I haven't read any of those comments or anything, so I haven't seen any of that.
Yeah.
Some of it, it's almost like I don't want to read it because I don't want to see anything negative. After seeing him on the Q&A and doing everything, he's the most positive person I've ever seen to be going through all that stuff he went through. And he talks about Paul and Gene. He refers to them as my dear friends.
Yeah.
And he's a bigger man than I am, because I wouldn't be able to just forgive someone for going through all that stuff that he claims. A lot of it, the lawsuit, was unnecessary. Really, anything was unnecessary.
I mean, it just absolutely made me sick because, there's, a number of KISS pages that I'm a member of on Facebook. So there was obviously, pictures were popping up left and right all through my feed of that. And I'm kind of like, I'm all pumped up after watching that video, and I'm checking to see like, oh yeah, everybody's probably, kind of vibing and happy. And then I'm just seeing nothing but comments. And like you said, yeah, they could think, what they want. Yeah, keep it that way. Think it to yourself. Don't type it out on Facebook and make a comment like you're some jokester and like, he's funny because he's making fun of somebody. And, nobody's perfect. All these people saying things, I'm sure they don't look perfect either. Nobody does.
It's like I said, it seems like that Vinny is a very sensitive guy, and because of that, that's probably why he doesn't have social media.
Yeah.
Because he knows, like he said, the way people are, and he knows he probably can't take it, or he doesn't want to hear it either way. Because I've seen, like, Paul Stanley has posted stuff on his Twitter or Instagram, and I've seen a lot of negative comments. About it's been a while back. I guess he has like a media room or a record room where he listens to vinyl and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he posted a picture of he was kicked back in his chair listening to some records, and people were just saying all kinds of negative things about it.
Yeah.
It's like, why is that something that needs to be negative?
Right. People
and Paul is a sensitive guy too. I'm sure he read some of those, and how does that affect people?
Exactly. He's very, I agree. I hate social media a lot of the times too because of that stuff. The way people just choose to say that, but if you're in person, they don't say it to your face. That's the biggest problem. Now, it's one thing if people are sitting there making comments, Vinny, he screwed people out of money, blah, 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 he's this and that. But when you're sitting there making personal comments about the guy's looks and, this and that, people, when these people get to that age, I'd like to see how they look. You put on some weight, you get wrinkles in your face. If you go back and look at his mugshot from 95 or whatever that was, he don't look much different then as he does now. It's age. Yeah, a little bit of weight. We don't know. He might be on some sort of medication that causes you to gain some weight.
Well,
I know that myself.
All the stuff he was talking about going through, I mean, that will age a person too.
Yeah.
So
all that stress but if he did have social media and he got online and saw all that nasty stuff all over the Facebook and Twitter, he would have probably had a nervous breakdown and he would be right back in hiding. And he'd be like, why did I even bother coming out? I mean, the people were treating him like he's, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like he was, hiding up in his house for all these years. He finally comes out and everybody's throwing stones at him and shit. I mean, it's sickening, man. And then all these people are diehard Kiss fans and supposedly and all this and that. And then they want to just take shots at Vinny or, post a nasty comment on Paul's photos that have nothing to do with the photo, just to voice their opinions about the new lineup and all this and that. It's sick, man.
It's stupid.
And the social media stuff, man. That's what it is.
Oh yeah.
It's shrinking people's brains. It's making people feel invincible as long as they're sitting in their protective house and on a computer. They think they could say whatever they want and get away with it. And then you see that person, and like I said, in person, they would be 100% different to you.
Oh yeah,
that guy that got Vinny to do the expo, Vinny said that he was on him for I think he said 8 months to try to get him to whatever he was talking to him about specifically to get him to do that. And I guess he finally got to a point where he thought, this is the best way. I mean, he even said that, to get the truth out and to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's like he thought he was forgotten. You can see when he first walks up there that first night, before he says the first thing, he is so emotional at, people's response.
Yeah.
Because it's all positive, and I don't think he expected that. I think he expected, because of all the negative stuff he's been through, for this to be another negative thing, but I'll try to do this, and I think it really maybe surprised him to where he'll be able to do a lot more stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and even that first night, there wasn't nearly as many people there. I mean, the second day was way more, and I can imagine his reaction then. And I saw like a big group of the photo ops people posted a whole bunch of them on one of the Facebook pages, and that was one positive thing, and he was happy in every one of them, joking with people, some of the people in some of the pictures, all that kind of stuff. When he got up and did the acoustic thing, he still sings really good, plays really good. I mean,
Well, that reminded me. That's the first time I heard him sing, but then I was going back and listening to some of those demos. He did A Million to One, and he's actually singing on that demo, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that his voice? Because it sounded like after seeing him do that song acoustic, it's like, wow. I mean, and he even apologized for his voice because he'd been talking all day previous to doing that, I guess.
Yeah, but it still sounded pretty good to me.
It sounded fine to me. And then I listened to the demo, and it's like, that's him on the demo, because I had no idea. I just never thought about it,
And this has been at least 10 years, if not longer, that everybody's been, where's Vinnie? Where's Vinnie? This has been going on longer than just the past year or so, like everybody hoping he would. So that's why everybody was so happy, or at least, well, most of the Kiss fans were happy. It's like, I don't know, like it's almost like a resurrection, if you will. Like he came back out. He's in a good place now. He's ready to be back in the spotlight. And
I'd like to have someone on the show that was at the expo that got to be there.
Yeah, I would love that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, anyone watching, hey, if you were at the expo, we'd love to hear your take on it. Come on the show, talk about it more, because I'm curious too. Like, even what kind of vendors were there. I've kind of saw a couple things in pictures in the background, but I don't have a real idea of like how many vendors were there, what kind of cool stuff was there, and everything else that was going on. So it's kind of, it's like, wow, it's already over with. And now we're looking forward to the Indie Expo and see what happens there.
I know there was a big Q&A. I don't know how big it was, but there was a Q&A with Robert Fleischman on there too. I haven't got to watch that yet. It's online.
Because didn't Eddie Trunk did one too, I think.
Well, Eddie Trunk was a guest, but I don't know exactly what that means.
I think he did a Q&A. I'm not mistaken.
Because I know Three Sides of the Coin was there.
Oh yeah, they were there. The Kiss My Collectibles guys were there. I want to say, yeah, our buddies from Podcast Rock City were down there. It was. So I'm hoping the Indie Expo is attracting the same kind of thing, man. Like,
well, I have a feeling, and I don't have any inside connections, but I have a feeling that Vinnie Vincent's going to be at the Indie Expo.
I kind of have this good feeling too, because the way things went.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's going to be now like, oh yeah,
well,
he's at, now let's.
Right. Well, the fact that he's apparently, what am I saying? He's apparently mended fences with Gene, and like I said, assuming Paul, then I would think Gene or Paul would give Keith that okay, like, yeah, you can book him now if you want, that type of thing. But before, I'm sure they didn't want him to be a part of anything Kiss related, because they were always trying to write him out of history all these years.
Since Dean had got a hold of Vinnie and set up that thing in April, and to me that's pretty much mind blowing. I'm sure Vinnie feels more that way.
Oh yeah.
For Dean to be presenting him a vault, I think Eric Singer got one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you put Eric Singer over here and Vinnie Vincent over here. To me, they're equal, but in the Kiss world, for years they were in totally different areas of thinking. And for Vinnie to get a vault and be on the same stage with Gene, I can't even imagine what that's going to be like.
They all got one. Eric, Ace bought one. Bruce.
Yeah, Ace got one. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce did all that stuff. I think Gene should sign and present one to the Carr family too, because there's plenty of Eric stuff on there, I'm sure. But yeah, that is going to be crazy. Like those people that are at that particular vault experience, that's going to be a hell of a time.
And who's to say who else will be there?
Exactly. Exactly.
Ace is going to be at. Wasn't Ace going to be at one of the other vault experiences?
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like they've got him, announced on the flyer for the thing. Like that's kind of crazy, It's like Gene Simmons Vault Experience and special guest Ace Frehley. It's like, wow, that's kind of cool, It's like you're already getting more for your money there, and then then they do those little like acoustic performances, and it was funny watching the one that Gene and Ace and them and Bruce did, and they were doing what was it, Parasite. I think it was Parasite, and Ace was forgetting lyrics, and Gene's over there like correcting. He's like, "Come on, you wrote the song." He's like, "I know, but I ain't played it in 30 years."
I have to go back and watch some more of that because I guess they did Torpedo Girl, which I don't think that's ever been done.
Maybe that's the one, not Parasite. Maybe it was Torpedo Girl. But he's like, "You wrote the song." Well, I ain't played it in 30 years. Give me a break.
I was going to say, has he ever played that song? I don't even know. And
see, you watch that stuff and you look at Gene. He's looking at Ace, and he's just got this, proud smile across his face the whole time. Like you could tell he's just looking at him like, he really is, got it together now.
I've seen a change in Gene from the very end of Family Jewels.
Mm-hmm.
He came to his senses about a lot of things
because
he was about to lose Shannon, and before that happened, before they got married, she took him to Israel, and he went through all that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like from that point on, and this is my opinion, that and I know when people get older, they get more sentimental and this and that, but you sort of realize what's important, and I think Gene has realized what's important, and maybe making up with Ace and with Vinnie and whoever is how he's doing that, because there's really no reason to not do that. There's no reason to hold grudges for 20, 30 years, whatever.
Yes, I mean, why take that to your grave, and never making amends with those people, and and that's kind of, like you said, that's kind of where they're all at right now. They're all just starting to, realize, like, hey, this ain't going to last too much longer. We're probably only going to be around another 20 years if we're lucky. Who knows?
Make friends and be happy.
Yeah, exactly. And, I always kind of looked at it that way as far as, the original four, they kept breaking it. It's like, appreciate it while you have it. Like, I don't, like so many bands do that. It's like too much of that infighting, and they don't want to play with each other, and then 9 times out of 10, one of the guys ends up passing away, and then it's like it ruins the whole thing, because it's like you can't have a reunion. Some bands can't have reunions without certain members. I mean, look at Pantera.
Yeah,
that's a perfect example. Totally got screwed up. I was hoping it was going to happen. Same with like Alice in Chains. I mean, yeah, they kept going, but I was always hoping Lane would, come back to them. But, they're still rolling. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting time in the KISS world right now, and, we're still in January. Like we talked about, there's a lot of stuff that's coming that we know of. There's just all kinds of rumblings going on in the KISS world, which is what I was hoping for, we were hoping for. Who knows, by the end of the year, we may have the Vinnie box set or book, one of the two, or maybe even both, who knows.
I think he said he was going to try to get it done before the end of the year or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he said, but
yeah, that would be awesome. He's been
working on it for the past 4 months, I think he said.
I would like to see them, let alone that whole KISS documentary that they had been supposedly. I'd like to see a documentary of Vinnie, like really go in detail and have him explain things and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, a lot of, who knows what he has, like some unseen footage, all that kind of stuff. You know, like a really nice documentary put together would be awesome.
I was surprised, and I'm assuming this is the case because I wasn't at the expo, but I'm assuming that he didn't have any of his guitars there.
No.
Just playing that acoustic guitar. I was hoping to see some of his, I guess they're, what are they, Flying V's, those pink ones, and he has a like a sparkle one. I don't know if that's what they're called exactly, but
that white one.
I was hoping. What's that?
And that white one too, didn't he? With like the black.
Yeah, he had like 3 or 4 that I remember seeing. And
even the gold Jackson that he played in Kiss isn't something you can go get. I don't know if it's specifically a signature, or maybe it was only available back in the '80s. But you know, I looked for one when we decided that's what we were doing with Sweet Pain, and you can't get them anywhere unless you're going to pay thousands of dollars to buy a used one from somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had said back in when Vinnie Vincent Invasion was touring with Alice Cooper, because of that situation with, I don't remember who it was, he didn't go into detail as far as naming names, accused him. They had the cops come, and it was a court order, and took all of his equipment.
Oh, yeah.
Right before a show. And his guitar tech, I guess, took one of his guitars and hid it in the bathroom stall. So they took everything and drove off, and he still had that one guitar. So does that mean that's the only one he still has? He didn't really say.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. He
I don't know if he got all that equipment back. He said anything that said Vinnie Vincent Invasion on it, they took. He said they took the drums, they took the guitars, the amps, everything, except that one guitar. He said, I'm assuming just that one guitar.
Wow. And it's like what they do with it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope that he has, you know, bought more guitars by now, or
yeah,
because he said he plays almost like 7 hours a day. I would hope it's not just an acoustic, and he's actually playing something electric. But
yeah, because he was commenting on social media how negative it is, and something about Vinnie plays too fast or whatever, and he goes, someone in the crowd had said something based on him saying that, and he goes, well, yeah, he goes, I used to play really fast. He said, I can still do that. He said, but I've learned a lot. I've grown as a musician, and I've learned you don't have to always play fast, all the time, more or less is what he was saying.
Well, and, this is another thing that speaks of the kind of person he is. He said straight up on there, he's like, Gene and Paul know way more than I do about the music, the whole ins and outs of everything, all that. He was like, yeah, Paul would yell at me on stage if I played a solo too long. Yeah, okay, maybe I did play it too long. He had the right to say so,
Yeah, because he said I was really young, and he said they taught me everything. He said, those are my friends, and I just couldn't get over the fact that he's so positive when it comes, it's like, because I know that that's a bunch of crap that he went through. I mean, going to court alone, to me, would be I'd be overwhelmed, being accused of this or that, and then not trying to get this resolved for something that you don't really want to fight for. But if you don't, you're never going to have an outcome. So, and being that positive after it's all said and done, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, look at how powerful just a simple email was. I mean, it brought him and Gene back together. As far as I know, they haven't actually spoke yet, but they've reached through email, and then Gene's already invited him to that. And, he mentioned, back when Gene made some hateful comments not too long ago, he said he thinks the reason that happened is because that was around the time that Gene had sent the first couple emails. And, Vinny, I'm the same way. He hardly ever checks his email. So he just happened to get on there one day and he ran across it, and there was a couple emails. So he thinks that's probably why Gene did that, because he was probably a little upset that he never responded and all that stuff. And, he was trying to get that clearance to use the one track that's on the vault. So, but then, hey, he responded to him. I forget exactly what he said, but he mentions it in the Eddie Trunk interview. Like, oh, I love you, come back, that kind of thing. I'd love to, all that kind of stuff. I'll do anything you want to, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, just from that, I guess Gene responded, said he wanted him to come to that event. They may have spoken on the phone by now, I would hope, but it's just crazy, the power of a simple email, just mending fences. Whether Paul will act the same way, who knows? We'll have to see.
Well, we've talked so many times about Kiss's last show, whenever that is, and it almost seems possible that Vinnie could be at that show now.
It really does now. And I remember not that long ago we've talked about it, and we said, nah, there's no way Vinnie will be a part of it. But guess what? Hey, times change, things change. I think it's more open now than it would ever be. Let alone Ace. I mean, now he's opening for Kiss, which is something he always was against doing. Now he's doing it, because guess what? Times change. You're not getting any younger. It's more about being friends and just having fun playing the music,
It's like with that first vault experience, I mean, there was 3-4 members of Kiss there.
Yeah. And obviously there's a huge chance that Ace could get up on stage with Kiss at the cruise and play, and even Bruce and Bob too. Who knows? Or if anything, maybe during the sail away show, if not during the main show. I mean, it's all possible with that thing. And then who knows what would happen? But it's like I've said, it's as far as Kiss the band, we're probably not gonna get much, but there's an awful lot of stuff going on with all the Kiss members and related stuff already, and we're not even through January yet, so it's going to be a pretty exciting year, I got a feeling, when it comes to all the Kiss related stuff that happens and maybe get released and all that whatnot. So buckle in, that's all I got to say. The roller coaster is about to begin. Paul does hold grudges though, so I'm hoping that he can let bygones be bygones too.
I mean, you hear all that about with Eddie Trunk all the time. He goes into that with Paul and Gene, and I don't think Gene really has a problem with him. I think it's because he has to answer to what Paul wants to do. Otherwise, I think Gene would have been on his show, and he would have been on maybe even that metal show, for who knows.
Yeah.
But for some reason, just from what Eddie Trunk says, he states his opinion on what he thinks about different things about Kiss, and
his main thing is the current lineup too. I mean, it's more about the makeup than the actual guys, but that's his gripe. He likes to
Kiss fans. No Kiss fans are going to agree on everything.
Exactly. I mean, they never have. I mean, even back when Eric Carr joined the band and then Vinnie, I mean, people then were, oh God, we want the original 4 back. When's that going to happen? It ain't like it's a new thing. And he likes to say like, oh, I don't care if they have a problem with me and blah 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 blah. Well, he sure doesn't have a problem bringing it up every damn show, it seems like. And like trying to make jokes about it, like, oh, they hate me and I'm going to do this and this and this.
I think it bothers him so much that he can't let it go.
Right. It's almost like he thinks he's on some kind of pedestal, like he's the only person that Kiss has a problem with or something, and it makes him special or whatnot.
Well, he has mentioned too how Ozzy was never allowed to do anything because of Sharon.
Yeah.
Something he had said negative that Sharon didn't like about Ozzy. I don't remember what it was now. So he's in the same boat, I guess, with that.
Yeah.
But, I can't imagine why that. I mean, if you're a fan of somebody or if you're not, how is that relevant to participating in? I mean, you don't have to like the guy. You know, I guess Paul and Eddie Trunk were friends at one point. And somewhere down the line, Paul decided, well, I mean, it just seems, I know everybody has falling outs and stuff, and you can't be friends with everyone, but I don't know. It just seems like because he's a journalist or a disc jockey or whatever you want to call it, it'd be like talking to Howard Stern. I mean, Gene's been talked to Howard Stern before.
Yeah, many times.
Not saying that Eddie Trunk is like Howard Stern in that way, other than he's the same type of job, sort of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, again,
I think Paul both was on. Was it Gene and Paul both on Howard Stern, or was it just Gene?
I know Gene's been on there quite a few times. I don't know if Paul ever has or not. Paul probably hasn't, because again, he's so hypersensitive. I don't know if he would handle it very well. As far as I know, he hasn't been on there. I know Ace has been on there. Maybe Peter. But, I mean, I know Paul, you know, he did Eddie Trunk's show back before all that stuff happened. You know, he's done the show, and obviously Gene and everybody else. But, I don't know. I mean, again, it's like, if you got a problem with the way the band is, keep it to yourself. That's fine, but don't sit there and.
It's funny to me that, you know, I mean, I have preferences of certain eras of Kiss I like more than others for whatever reason, but it seems funny to me that someone in the band is going to be upset with someone that doesn't like what they're currently doing for whatever reason. It's like, and then if you want to, well, it's just makeup, you know, and it's just, and I understand you can look at it from both ways. Okay, well, it's not their character, and, you know, the whole story worded a million times. But at the same time, it's just like, it's just a rock band.
Yeah.
And it's not the end of the world. So, I don't know. Just seems trivial to me, and they make it something that it's not.
It's like, would you rather not have Kiss around, like, as, you know, 15 years ago is probably when it would have happened?
That's probably exactly how he feels. Is it should be this way, or it should be nothing.
Right.
You know, and that's why, you know, I don't have anything specific against Eddie Trunk, but the bits that I've listened to where he talks about what his gripes are with Kiss, what bothers me about how he puts it is he doesn't say, I feel this way, or I feel like it's this, or it seems to me this. He says, it is this way. It is disrespectful for them to be doing what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, but who are you? Why does your opinion matter more than the people who created this thing in the first place?
That's what I mean. Like, us voicing opinions is like one thing, the way we do it, but somebody like him at where he's at and going out and spitting that stuff all through the radio, and it's like he's saying it like, who's going to follow me and agree with me of what I say, because that's the truth, because I said it, you know, that type of thing.
Right. Well, yeah, it's like, I agree with what, I mean, if Paul and Gene want to do whatever it is they want to do, they own the rights to that. And, you know, if they want new characters, then that's what they'll do. They've done that. If they want to stay with what they're doing now, then that's what they're going to do. I mean, no one has to, everyone doesn't have to agree with that, but it's like, you know, it's like a job, more or less. You know, it's like if you're the head of a company, you're going to run it the way you want to run it, and it doesn't matter what so-and-so says, who's in charge, you know? So it's people have to look at it from that point of view, because it's really the way it is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even if Ace and Peter were both fine with it, people would still be bitching. I mean,
oh, yeah.
Some people just have to complain about something, and they're never happy about anything. And it's like they're trying to, yeah, who's with me? You know, when they posting that kind of stuff all over. Same with the Vinnie stuff, you know, all those kind of comments. People are, it's almost like, yeah, who's going to agree with me, and start making fun of him too. And yeah, some people did that, but you know, it's just pure sickness.
And I'm surprised it became such a big thing, other than that, you know, just based on people wanting to create controversy, because who should have been surprised? You know, I made a comment about it, not publicly, of course, but But it's not that I was surprised. He was always kind of a strange-looking guy.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
he doesn't look any worse than Paul or Gene. You know?
exactly. Right. I mean, when it comes down to it, yeah, he's always sort of had a feminine type of look,
Right.
especially in the Invasion era. But when these people are going as far as like, no, that is a woman. He's got this. He's got these now. He's that.
It's ridiculous.
You know, saying he was, naming these other women like, oh, that's really such and such, and that kind of thing. That you're attacking the person's personal,
Exactly.
their looks, their,
Not only that, but they didn't have any evidence to go by. They were just speculating because no one really knew, and to a certain degree still doesn't know. Even after Vinnie said everything and explained everything, he didn't go into that area because it probably isn't necessary.
I mean, why should he? Why should he have to? And why would it matter anyway? Even if it was. But those kind of people will have an issue with it.
And I guarantee you that all or most of the people who made those comments probably didn't listen to a thing or even care about a thing he actually had to say anyway. Yeah, it was purely for the controversy.
Well, it's obvious nobody listened to that Eddie Trunk interview because, like I said, I'm not sure if you were back at the time, but he said that during the interview about social media and it's made everyone mean and blah blah blah, and then all these people are doing exactly what he was talking about right there. Yep. So obviously you people didn't listen to it, or you just didn't care. It went one ear out the other.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was thinking about it probably won't happen, but a lot of things you never know how it's going to go. But I was thinking it'd be really cool. And I'm a social media whore. I'll be the first one to say so. And my girlfriend says that all the time. I think it'd be really cool if Vinnie had his official Instagram or his official Facebook page or YouTube channel. I think that'd be awesome. If he could actually do that without a bunch of, if he was the type of person that it didn't matter if he got negative or positive comments, he would just forget the negative ones and comment, and concentrate on the positive ones. If he was the type of person that could do that, some people can do that. I don't know if I would be able to do that or not because people do have feelings. It'd be really cool if he had official accounts that, him or his attorney or whoever would manage. I think that'd be awesome.
Well, that's what I mean. He'd have to block the comments or something.
Right.
That ain't going to happen. And I mean, what would you feel like if you had thousands of people leaving comments on your videos and talking about how you look or this and that, and
I'd do the same thing he did. I'd disappear.
Yeah. I mean, you would start getting probably a lot of depression. And
on some of my videos on my YouTube channel, whatever it is, there's been some videos that I posted from the Kiss Expo. Mm-hmm. There's been different videos, mainly from other stuff that I posted. And a few that's on my actual vinyl update videos, and they were saying negative stuff, and it's like I don't even comment back on those people. I'm terrible at answering my comments anyway, but I won't even acknowledge that at all.
Yeah, but see, that's a handful of people or whatever it is. But imagine this big horde of thousands of messages is pouring in, and it's all that kind of crap.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's like what it would be like.
I mean, it was making me feel like weird just reading all that crap on all those comments, comment after comment, and page after page. I'm like, good God, like all these people wanted him back for all these years. He comes back, and then right away you got to criticize and say bad things about him. And
I just wonder how much of a percentage of those people were at the expo.
Well, I'm sure none of them were. They were just looking at the picture and making comments on it. But it's like you wanted him back so bad. He's back. Then you're not happy. You got to make comments about the way he looks, which all that crap would send him right back into hiding if he had seen it all. It's like, what do you people want? My God, is he supposed to come out wearing the freaking makeup and the creature's costume and be the skinny guy like he was back, 34 years ago? I mean, get real.
He even said during some of the Q&A, he goes, he goes, I wanted to come out and tell everything like it is and cleanse everything and of these accusations. He said, and I know this is going on the internet. He said, but, that's just, he's aware that everything he's saying is going to be, who knows how many people is going to see it. But he's okay with that.
I bet if you went to YouTube right now and pulled up whatever one of them videos, because I know there's tons of them that different people's posted. If you just picked one and pulled it up, I guarantee you there's at least 10 nasty comments on that video about him. It's
surprisingly, I actually pulled up the one of him playing the acoustic.
Mm-hmm.
I could watch it once we finish, and I was scrolling down the comments, and now given there's 628 of them, but everything on this first page is positive. I was actually like, oh, good.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting the exact same thing you just said.
Well, either the person's already deleted the bad ones, or maybe they're in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
But
somewhere in the 628, there's
right.
somebody. Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing as a Kiss fan to see other so-called diehards act like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is.
Tis.
Well, some people just want to stir the pot. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I bet those people on Facebook aren't even Kiss fans. They probably saw that picture in passing and they were like, ooh, I can ruin something for somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and, there's so many people out there, if anything's Kiss related, a lot of people are so against Kiss and have been for years and years, their whole career. You've heard that it's everybody, Sebastian Bach said he got beat up for being a Kiss fan.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just sort of the way it is. If you're related to Kiss somehow and people know that, they're automatically going to say something negative because they don't like Kiss. But then anybody that knows any more about this band, this member, or the history of what album they were on or whatever they don't like, that just adds to it. So, I don't have anything. I have my opinions of certain, members of different bands, but I don't know these people.
No.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what I think.
It's like I said, it's one thing to have an opinion like, oh, I don't think this guy's the right fit or something, but when he looks like this, he looks like that, look at this, oh my God, that's a whole different thing, man. That's low.
Yeah.
And like I say, all them people making those comments probably don't look perfect themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's perfect. I don't know. So there's probably, I don't know, there's probably so much more we could hit on that happened or stuff that he said, but we should probably go ahead and move to trivia because I know Luke's got to be off at 7.
All right, well, let me get a bottle of water and we'll start our trivia here.
A waddle of butter?
A waddle of bottler.
All right.
I'm going to go make urination.
Well, I feel like that, and I'm sure he felt like this too, but I just feel like that he's owed so much more as far as a career, because I don't think, with Kiss, it went the way he wanted it to or the way it should have potentially. Right. And with Vinnie Vincent Invasion, same thing. And I think he's owed a lot more. I mean, I know that former members that's been in Kiss, they have a career in a sense, but it's not like a career where they've just started out on like a solo or a band or whatever. And if it wasn't for the Kiss factor, I mean, that's what keeps a lot of them going, and that's what their income is, and that's their appearances and the things, that they do, and they're thankful for that. So if he could just get to a point where that was a regular thing, Kiss related stuff, I think that'd be a very important to, not just financially, but to keep him happy.
Yeah, I think he's on the right track to do that, and that'll definitely help with promotion too when it comes time for books and box sets, whatever happens,
I got some trivia here.
All right. So we're going to move to trivia. And I don't know, maybe next week there'll be more to talk about that happened this past weekend, possibly.
We'll have to do our homework, I guess.
Yeah. Again, hey, if you were at the expo, get a hold of us. Come on the show, talk about it. Or leave a comment, about what your favorite moment was, that kind of stuff. So we want to hear from you. Let me hear you. All right, it's trivia time.
All right.
Let me.
Who goes first, or does it matter?
Luke can go first.
All right, these questions, some of these you might actually have to laugh because the answers are going to be too obvious or too easy. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them will be. At least the first set, and we'll get to the second set and see how it goes.
All right.
The first question. During the Hotter Than Hell photo shoot, which band member had to be locked in a car to keep from hurting himself? This is multiple choice. A. Gene Simmons, B. Paul Stanley, C. Ace Frehley, or D. Peter Criss.
This is kind of funny because when you told me they were going to be obvious, I almost just blurted out the first answer is Paul Stanley. I should have.
That's pretty much the answer, yes.
All right.
Question 2. Where did the KISS Army originate? A. New York City, New York. B. Detroit, Michigan. C. Terre Haute, Indiana. Or D. Cleveland, Ohio.
C. Terre Haute, Indiana.
That's it. Question 3. Which song was not performed on the Paul Lynde Halloween special in 1976? Not performed. A. Shout It Out Loud. B. Beth. C. King of the Nighttime World. Or D. Detroit Rock City.
I feel like I got this question once before and answered it wrong because it was something I wasn't expecting. I'm gonna say Shout It Out Loud.
That's right.
Okay, because I think last time I said Beth, and then I was wrong.
Question 4. Which band member designed the famous KISS logo? A. Peter Criss. B. Gene Simmons. C. Paul Stanley. D. Ace Frehley.
D. Ace Frehley.
That's true.
And if you ask Paul, he made it improvements to it.
Yeah, he refined it.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Probably added the outline around the edge.
Hopefully. Question 5. Which rock legend was quoted as saying, "What they need is a gimmick," referring to KISS? Was it A. Ozzy Osbourne, B. Robert Plant, C. Alice Cooper, or D. Mick Jagger?
Alice Cooper.
According to this, it's Ozzy Osbourne.
Really?
Huh.
But I would think it'd be more Alice Cooper because that's sort of where they got the idea for the makeup and such, as far as each member, for Alice Cooper. But the answer is Ozzy Osbourne. Question 6. Who accepted KISS's People's Choice Award for the song Beth? Was it A. Lydia Criss, B. Bill Aucoin, C. Neil Bogart, or D. Cher?
A. Lydia Criss.
Yes, Lydia Criss. And on the televised, it was Goldie Hawn, wasn't it? On the televised part of it.
Yeah, I think it was, because that's the clip I always remember seeing.
Right.
Because that's always on those compilations.
I don't know why Peter wasn't there. He must have been on tour at the time.
Well, because remember they showed that video where they were supposedly at they were in concert, but it was supposed to be like, live or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then
Where he was-
they had the
yeah.
award.
Question 7. Which album is the first to feature all 4 band members with lead vocal credits? A. Destroyer, B. Love Gun, C. Dynasty, or D. Rock and Roll Over?
Love Gun.
Yes, Love Gun is the answer.
Grease is the word.
Grease is the word. See, Kiss could do the Grease soundtrack. Release it. That'd be great. I really wish that would happen, but I know it's not. Question 8. Which single released from the solo albums was the highest charting in Billboard magazine? A. Don't You Let Me Down by Peter Criss. B. Radioactive by Gene Simmons. C. Hold Me, Touch Me by Paul Stanley. Or D. New York Groove by Ace Frehley.
D. New York Groove.
D. New York Groove, yes. Question 9. Number 9.
Number 9.
Kiss performed the song I from Music from the Elder on what famous TV show? A. American Bandstand. B. Solid Gold. C. Soul Train. Or D. New Year's Rockin' Eve.
Mm-hmm. What were the first 2 again?
A. American Bandstand. Or B. Solid Gold.
All right, I'm going to go with American Bandstand on it.
So close. It was Solid Gold.
Rap it.
And I don't ever remember seeing that at the time.
I thought it was on Fridays. Is
Yeah.
that?
It was on Fridays too, but they were also on Solid Gold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did an eye on there. They lip synced it on there.
Oh, yeah, that's the one yeah.
Question 10. What award show did the reunited Kiss make their first public appearance? A. American Music Awards. B. Billboard Music Awards. C. The MTV Video Awards. Or D. The Grammys.
Probably going to regret second guessing, but I'm going to say American Music Awards.
Nope, it was the Grammys. Tupac.
I knew that seemed like it was the obvious, but
I remember the Tupac part. That was it.
yeah.
Well, I know they were on American Music Awards, but I think they were just presenters. I don't think they've ever performed on those shows, to my knowledge.
No, they haven't.
They were even on the Country Music Awards as presenters one time. Paul and Gene was.
Yeah, that's just nuts.
Yeah. All right. This is the second set of 10, so I guess it'd be question 11. What is the only music video to feature Gene, Paul, Ace, and Eric Carr? Was it A, Creatures of the Night, B, The Elder, C, I Love It Loud, or D, Shandy?
Should be I Love It Loud.
I Love It Loud, and right between the eyes.
Huh.
I had to think about that for a second. It's like, there's a video for Creatures of the Night. I mean, I've seen performances on whatever show, but
There's
they
that
showed video.
that Australian show where they're in front of that blue screen.
Well, there's that one, but then there's another one that's a little harder to find on YouTube. They've got like these round circles of lights that are like a burst. They're flashing on and off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what country they're in when they do that one, but then they're doing Creatures of the Night on that one. That one's a little harder to find.
I don't know if I've seen that.
There's a compilation of that and another performance mashed together of them doing the same song.
Yeah. Isn't there a video for A World Without Heroes that the 4 of those are in? The 4 of them?
Ace is in that.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think they ever like clearly show Eric Carr, but I'm pretty sure he's in it.
Yeah, he's in it. I think he's only. It seems like he's, because that video is sort of that foggy looking.
Right.
I wish they would have done it really clear, because I know they were trying to be artsy and stuff, but
Right. So that's technically kind of a trick question. I mean,
yeah, he's not in that video much. Now I want to go back and watch it again.
I'll have to check my Creatures TV collection video to see if that one's on there. So I don't recall seeing that.
Which one?
The one you were talking about with the light.
Oh yeah, it's probably a European country of some sort, because when they were promoting that with Ace was on it, so they were. I know they were doing European stuff then.
Yeah, I'll have to check that video then.
Question 12. What video shows Paul's hands on fire? A, Heaven's on Fire. B, All Hell's Breaking Loose. Or C, Crazy Nights. Or D, Unholy.
Heaven's on Fire.
Oh my God, you got that one.
I was just thinking like, that would have kind of looked cool in the Unholy video too, but
Yeah, Gene could have had his hair on fire.
I like how in that video they almost make it look like that's why Paul's doing that vocal thing at the beginning. Like he's like, "Whoa, what's going on?"
I never thought about that, but yeah, it sort of does.
Imagine if he did that in every concert when they did that song.
I wish. Well, yeah, I mean, Gene has a fire thing. Why can't Paul have that?
Yeah.
They could combine them. They could do, Gene blows the fire onto Paul's hand.
That'd be even better.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be great. See, we have so many ideas. If Kiss would just call one of us.
Yeah.
We need like Batman had that bat phone. We need like a Kiss phone. Have like the logo up in the sky and stuff.
To the podcast cave.
I want to pull.
Don't we all? Question 13. Lucky 13.
Ooh.
What video has Gene driving a convertible? A, All Night. B, Let's Put the X in Sex. C, Domino. Or D, Forever.
Domino.
That'd be Domino.
It'd have been funny if it was Forever, just for no reason.
Well, I'm sure you could edit that together. Just take all the footage from Domino and play the song Forever underneath it.
Wonder what that would look like. That's a good idea.
Yeah, you could do a lot of really cool mashups like that.
I'm going to do that, and I'll send it to you guys.
You should take all their videos and just
flip flop them. Just cut them all into bits and then take, just like you're grabbing a handful of bits and putting them into a video.
Absolutely. And then take songs that they don't have videos for, and take a video that they just put in, like, I don't know, what's the one, Every Time I Look at You, take a song from The Elder and make that a video. That'd be great.
I'm just curious to see what Forever would, like, the Domino video with Forever playing over it, like, if anything would even go together.
I don't know, you might have to add when Paul's doing vocals, you might have to put those clips in here and there. I don't know or unless you could get Gene to mouth it like he's sort of singing it, that'd be great.
Well, I'm just going to put the song over the video and then see what happens.
It's like Dark Side of the Moon with Wizard
of
Oz.
Exactly.
Match up, yeah.
See if it syncs up.
Question 14. What is Eric Carr's last video with the band? A, Hide Your Heart. B, Forever. C, Reason to Live. Or D, God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too.
God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
That'd be it. Question 15. What was the first video for the newly unmasked Kiss? A. Lick It Up. B. Heaven's on Fire. C. All Hell's Breaking Loose. Or D. Shandy.
Lick it up.
Lick it. Lick it up.
Long as I got this face.
See, Shandy's sort of a trick question because that was from the Unmasked album. So, wasn't that obvious of a choice, though. Question 16. What video does Bruce Kulick get a shower? A. Crazy Nights. C. All Night. D. Who Wants to Be Lonely? Or B. Tears Are Falling. C. All Night. Or D. Who Wants to Be Lonely? Forgot my alphabet.
Tears Are Falling.
Yes, indeedy. Although I think Paul gets a shower in Who Wants to Be Lonely.
Yeah. I was talking about that last time that question came up. Those two videos are very similar anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably the same director.
I'm convinced they shot them in the same day.
They probably did all three of those in that album. Yeah. And I want to know where they've got those blinds that are in All Night, those chrome blinds. I want a set of those. Special order.
Maybe somebody will get them in the vault.
They might actually show up in there. Question 17. What is the only video to feature Mark St. John? A. All Hell's Breaking Loose. B. Tears Are Falling. C. Lick It Up. Or D. Heaven's on Fire.
Whoa! Heaven's on Fire.
Heaven's on Fire. That'd be it. Question 18. What is Kiss's only 3D video? A. Domino. B. Unholy. C. Psycho Circus. Or D. Rock and Roll All Night Live.
Psycho Circus.
Yes, indeedy.
In all the other videos, they were animated and therefore 2D.
Right. So if I'd have said that, then there'd been a lot of answers.
Right.
Question 19. What video shows the band on a rooftop? A. Hide Your Heart. B. Forever. C. Rise to It. Or D. Reason to Live.
Hide Your Heart.
Hide It.
Rise to It. Ugh. The video. I like the song, but
Yeah. I like the video except for the makeup part.
yeah.
You'd think there would be a version of that existed without that. So you could match. You
There's
could match
about to
that
be.
up.
Yeah, just cut it off.
You can take some real footage of makeup from an earlier period and put that at the beginning and the end.
If only there was backstage footage of that period.
Yeah.
Oh, I got an idea. Okay.
He's got an idea.
I'll whip it up. Whip it up.
Or you could take a Devo video, whip it, and put the song Lick It Up to it, or vice versa. If Kiss would only wear those flower pots on their head, just one. Actually, they're not called flower pots, they're called Energy Dome.
Ah.
So, I mean,
I'll remember that for next week's trivia.
yeah, remember that for our Devo trivia.
Yes.
Question 20, and it could be the last question, but it doesn't have to be the last question. What late 80s video has Gene and Paul applying their trademark makeup?
Are you serious?
What? A. You Make Me Rock Hard. B. Crazy Nights. C. Rise to It. Or D. Hide Your Heart.
Is this mine?
This is yours, yeah.
Oh, God. You know what? Hide Your Heart. Because we ended in a tie now, so now we need a tiebreaker.
All right.
So let's do this to where if the one person answers wrong, the other gets to answer that way.
You want a tiebreaker? You got a tiebreaker. This is the hottest tiebreaker in the world.
All right.
Okay, pre-Kiss, what was the name of the band Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley were in?
Oh, come on.
A, Rainbow,
You can't pull something better out than that.
New York Dolls, C, Wicked Lester, or D, Luger?
Wicked Lester. That's good.
I don't know. Luger is a pretty good name.
Luger.
Seems like there was a band called that, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's very possible.
I still wish Chelsea had recorded that My Pickle Has Become Too Salty album.
Yeah, they passed up their opportunity.
They really did.
And that's the end of trivia.
Well, Luke wins.
On a account.
I get to ask some questions next week.
I think what it was is that you must have some sort of thing against saying the words "rise to it" because of how much you hate that video. You just refuse to acknowledge that it exists at all.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you put together a video compilation, I want a copy of it.
Yeah.
A video compilation.
Like a mashup or whatever you call it.
All right, everyone. So that's going to wrap things up. Again, chime in with your thoughts on Vinnie's return. And if you guys are planning on being at the Indie Expo, let us know too. We'd love to meet up with anybody. And yeah, so a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Or if you're going to the Indianapolis Comic-Con.
That too. Or Days of the Dead in Indianapolis.
Yeah, or Horror Hound in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that too.
Or if you want to just meet at the Waffle House at 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean,
yeah, let's do that. Have an all-American.
Covered and smothered.
All right. Well, that's going to do it then. And thanks, everyone, for watching. We will see y'all next week.